Meanwhile, a diplomatic row has erupted between Turkey and Australia in the wake of the attack. To talk us through it, Yusuf Erim joins me here in the studio in Istanbul. Yusuf, great to have you here. So what can you tell us about what's happened?
Well, there's a lot of misperceptions, mistranslations that are increasing tensions between Australia and Turkey. But to talk about this row that's happening right now, we need to understand the historical context. Now, when you look on a map, you see Turkey on one side and you see Australia and New Zealand on the other side of the world. Three countries that you would not expect to have strong diplomatic relations, but they actually have a very rich history dating back over a century ago during the Battle of Gallipoli, a battle that was very important in the formation of a democratic and secular Turkey, a very important victory that paved the way for the Republic of Turkey. The Australian and New Zealand armed forces took part in this battle and actually fought the Turkish soldiers back then. Many fell as a consequence of war, and many of their graves are now still present in cemeteries in what is now called Çanakkale, better known as Gallipoli. The founder of Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, made a vow over a century ago that these fallen Anzac soldiers, Australian and New Zealand soldiers, would be treated as sons of Turkey, that they would lie bosom to bosom with Turkish soldiers for eternity. And he vowed that they would be treated as sons and that Australians and New Zealanders would be able to come and pay their respects. A century later, President Erdogan is still keeping that vow, and it has always been a commemoration day, April 25th, for Australians and New Zealanders to come and visit Çanakkale and pay respects to their forefathers who have fallen. And it's very important that it's always been safe. Australians and New Zealanders, when you ask an average Turk on the street about what they think about them, they see them as carefree, fun-loving, and peaceful people. And that image has not changed with this attack.
So very close ties, but tell us, what did the president actually say?
Well, there was a lot of misinterpretation and mistranslation. And as someone who actually translates the president, he said yesterday that many people come from Australia and New Zealand for this commemoration in peace. They come in peace. But he also touched on those who do not come with the intention of peace. He's not talking about Australians or New Zealanders. He's talking about provocateurs. He's talking about terrorists. Those who come, he said the Turkish people know how to deal with them. Then he started going into the terrorist manifesto, talking about how the terrorists did not like the way the minarets looked on Hagia Sophia and how he had entered Turkey and toured Turkey for 43 days before and after the 2016 coup. So there was a lot of misinterpretation. We see in the Australian and New Zealand press that he made threatening remarks to Australia or New Zealand. Not the case at all. There was a complete misinterpretation. It's a politically charged atmosphere right now, and many people are using or trying to use this opportunity to polarize the atmosphere. And when you look at this, this is almost the same ideology that sparked this attack. Diplomatically, these three countries will be able to solve any problem between them. They've always had good relations, despite this relationship starting with both sides fighting one another. They've had incredible relations. There's a strong Turkish community in Australia. There's many Australians and New Zealanders who have visited Turkey, who have fond memories of their trips over here. And I think that this important dialogue between the people and this healthy dialogue that's going to happen between leaders will solve any problems from further escalating, because there's no need to escalate. There is nothing to escalate.
Yusuf Erim, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in to the studio. Now, Kazakhstan's new president has been sworn in. He's the former Prime Minister, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, and has said that he'll continue with his predecessor's policies. Nursultan Nazarbayev stepped down on Tuesday, but after almost 30 years in charge, there are doubts about how much will actually change, with Tokayev actually saying that he'll rely on Nazarbayev's opinion on key policy matters. Ben Set reports.
The announcement shocked most in Kazakhstan.